Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Elite City Podcast. We are just removed from probably the greatest AEW pay-per-view to date. And then we had Dynamite, not Dynasty. We had Dynamite last night, or 2 nights ago, excuse me. And there's just a lot to talk about. So
I'm really surprised no one messed that up and called Dynamite Dynasty or Dynasty Dynamite.
I know.
Because they sound so similar. Even JR, he got it right.
I know. It was nice to see JR first. First and foremost.
Yeah, definitely. I love that he commentated until the Adam Copeland match, and like, we know you're gonna call him Edge. Just
yeah.
Let's have someone else do that one. But yeah, it was great to see JR. I like that he was there for like the big swerve moment. I like that he did the swerve, kind of like Stone Cold. Like, that was cool. It was cool to have his voice there, like for historical purposes. Like it just sounds cool.
And you can tell that he's the pro's pro because it was like he's been there every week. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't a step behind. It seemed like it was so natural. Like he was there every week and like within all these storylines and not just like gone for 2 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he sounds happier. Like there was some episodes of Dynamite before where you could tell he was kind of grumpy. Like, why isn't this? And, like, he was mad at like whatever's happening in the ring. But like he seemed like he like legitimately enjoyed the show, and like you could tell when he likes wrestlers, and he seemed to like it.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, you even sent me a text like, oh, it's obvious that who was it? It was Ospreay.
Ospreay, he really likes Swerve, and he likes Samoa Joe a lot.
Yeah, because he
hypes them up a lot.
He hyped them up. Yeah, it was just nonstop. But we learned some things during the Dynasty pay-per-view. We unified the trios championships between Ring of Honor and AEW. The Bang Bang Gang are the new champions, and I thought the match was fun. I thought it was good that the heels won, but the heels won clean, if that makes any sense.
I agree.
Like, I don't want to say.
Now they only have one set of trios belts to ignore instead of 2.
Correct. Well, I have a theory.
Okay.
I think the trios belts are going to be like they're going to be between both shows, obviously, but I think they're going to be more of a Ring of Honor staple, and like, just because this past episode of Honor, of Honor Club, they cut the Bullet Club cut a promo, and they called themselves Bullet Club. So again, I don't know if they're back to that, but they did not call themselves the Bang Bang Gang.
Yeah, so. I noticed the graphics said Bullet Club too this week, and for a while it hadn't.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even notice that.
Maybe they worked something out, like New Japan worked something out with them or something.
Or something's coming, because that's what I was going to say. During this promo, the only thing both guns talked about was how great of a singles wrestler Jay White is. And all Jay White's talked about was how soon Juice Robinson's coming back. So I think they're going to be kind of like remember when, who had, I forget who had the trios belts, but they were like, they would sub people in and out.
Yeah. They did like, wrestlers have done that a bunch with tag team belts. Like, New Day did that in WWE. Like, there's been a bunch of teams.
That's who I was trying to think of. Yeah. It wasn't trios belts. Okay.
Yeah. It's like they call it the Freebird rule, I think, because they started it.
Oh, okay.
Demolition did it even. Like, they subbed in.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They brought in Crush. Like, it happens with tag teams. So it would make sense, to put in Juice Robinson instead.
Yeah. And I think like that's kind of like what they're going to do. Not that he's going to replace Jay White. I just think Jay White's going to be more of a singles all the time, just on AEW. And then when Juice totally comes back, or when he's cleared, he'll just kind of slide in and take Jay's spot as the trios champion.
Yeah, that would make sense. I would like that.
And just this past week on Ring of Honor TV, there were, let's see, 2 or 3 trios matches. So I think the mainstay of the trios belts will be defended on Ring of Honor. Again, just my opinion. I know nothing.
based on what we know now, this is a kind of a big topic. We don't have to go in depth on it. But like when they announced the trios belts, I remember being super excited about it. Based on what we know now, should they have done that, or was that a mistake?
I mean, hindsight's 2020. I think it's finally back on, like the belts are back on track, but they were a mess there for a while.
They definitely didn't need two, so it made sense to unify. Like they definitely didn't need to have two separate sets of trios belts. I just feel like it kind of wrecked the tag division for a while. Like everything's getting better now, but there was a period where like there were basically no tag teams because everyone was in a trio.
I'm glad you said that. That's what this goes back to my Ring of Honor theory. I think that like AEW will be like the more tag team centric company, and then Ring of Honor would be the more trio centric, and people will float back and forth. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I that's again just what I'm getting.
I would like that better. They have to differentiate things a little bit, so that would make sense.
And that's what I mean too. Like it'll clear up a little bit of the confusion. Like, oh, that guy, wait, wasn't he in a tag team last? Oh, he's in a trio now. Oh, he's single. Like it's kind of confusing.
It's also weird. I get it because they need to have divisions for booking and everything, but I always found it weird that when guys are in a trio, they're suddenly not a tag team anymore.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't the Acclaimed also just a tag team? And they're a trios team with Billy Gunn, and then they're also a tag team. Like, it's weird that they have to choose one.
Right. It would be like if Bowens won the TNT title. Like he would still be in the Acclaim, but he would be the TNT champion. Like, that's I never thought of it that way. That's true. They become a trio, and all of a sudden they're no longer a tag team.
Yeah, it's weird. So hopefully this fixes that a little bit.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I'm a fan personally of trios matches, but I know like a lot of people aren't. I'm like. They're always good matches, but I see how people don't necessarily like them. That's just my 2 cents.
The matches, you're right. The matches are always good. I feel like they'd have to. It's hard because you have to establish some like real trios who you care about and who you want to see win.
Right.
But then, why aren't they just tag teams? A lot of them seem like they're just tag teams, and then we're going to throw in a third guy. So it's weird.
Yeah. Like it would be. Like, I don't know, like maybe if they even change it to like the faction championship, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a trio. It could just be anybody in said faction can represent the titles.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they'll do that. That would actually be good.
That would be cool. Cause it'd just be interesting. Like you would, like you have like someone like the House of Black, like, okay, it's going to be like just those 3 guys. But then if you have, going to Bullet Club, there's 4, or
like Undisputed.
The Undisputed Kingdom, there's 6 of them, that would be super cool. Man, we're awesome. Moving right along, Willow Nightingale had her moment. First off, congratulations, Julia Hart, heck of a champion. If she wasn't really crying at the end of that match, she's a very good actress because like she pulled the heartstrings a little bit. Pun unintended.
Julia must have been injured though, right? Because this match wasn't very long.
Yeah,
I feel like she must have been like. I think that was the way it was going to hurt her anyway. They were going to have Willow win no matter what.
Agreed, but yeah, you could tell that.
I think it was only like 6 or 7 minutes. Like it wasn't a very long match.
Right, and I don't like. I mean, you could tell Julia like she wasn't holding back, but you could also tell that wasn't 100% Julia Hart, Yeah,
for sure. They could have had like if they were both healthy, they could have had a better match. But either way, I'm happy with Willow. I think she's going to be a great. I love that she won the title. I like Willow. Yes. She's great. So
she's so great. Then they had the Willow Appreciation Night this past Wednesday. Mercedes shows up to. It is official now. It's going to be Mercedes versus Willow at Double or Nothing. And they're starting that feud. And I'm going to ask your opinion. What do you think so far? And then
I loved this segment, like the segment that they had with it. It was really good. Yes, I loved it. I thought Mercedes is at her best when she's not even just not a heel, but kind of cocky and full of herself, and like
right.
She's not good at being like smiley and happy. Like she can do it, but she's
Right.
better when she's kind of smarmy and kind of a jerk, right? So that's working. And Willow is like super face, so you kind of have to be you can't be happier than Willow. So
right.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I like that they played into their history. I like that they played into like the mystery attacker. I like the thing where Stat grabbed her arm, but Mercedes thought it was Willow and he hit her. Like I thought all of it was really good. It was great.
Okay, now again, I'm conspiracy theory central tonight. This is my theory. I have a feeling that Saraya has been attacking all the ladies, both sides, Willow and Mercedes, because she is going to get Mercedes DQ'd at Double or Nothing. So that means Willow will win, but like she doesn't pin her. You know, it just causes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I was thinking, what do they do at Double or Nothing? Because having Willow lose so soon is weird.
Right.
But you can't also have Mercedes lose her first match.
Right. So that's, and then you throw in the like, there's the whole WWE past between those two.
And Saraya is the kind of person who like stirs up trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be. I'd like that. That'd be cool.
That would be super cool if that happened. That's again, I know nothing. I'm just putting the dots together in my own wrestling brain. But yeah, if I think Willow, I think she holds on to it, but I think there's going to be some shenanigans at the pay-per-view because it's not going to be a clean.
No, and I hope I hope they continue this because this story's been good. With Willow and Mercedes and everyone involved has been really good. So this is like what we were hoping from the women's division, and it's been good stuff. Like I thought this segment was one of the best things they did on that show.
Oh, it was great. It was it was so just well done. I mean, from beginning to end, like it just all made sense and was compelling, and it made me interested. Oh, what's next? Like,
and it felt like real, like they were actually talking. Like it, even Mercedes has a way of kind of sounding extra rehearsed when she talks.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked in this because you tell she was actually mad, but she was trying not to be mad. So it makes sense how she sounds like, yes, Willow, I am very happy for you. Like you can tell that like, no, she's actually deep down. She's not happy for her. She's pretending. She's like faking it. It was good. I liked all of it.
So it was so fun. Well, the next match on the card, Jericho, as we all thought, beats Hook for the FTW title. Without sounding negative, the match was fun, and it was a little long, like we always say. Not too long though. It was just a little long. It was a little
long, but it was okay.
I was gonna say they almost hit it perfectly, but they slubbed it a little bit. But then this past Wednesday,
I kind of hated the ending where Jericho was like, "I'm sorry," like, well, shut up, just like they it's an FTW rules match. What you didn't do anything that bad, right? It's not like you murdered his family or something. Like you hit him with a baseball bat. That happens. It's a no rules match in wrestling. That happens all the time. Like that wasn't that bad. Why are you acting like, oh my god, I'm so sorry? Like you like ripped off his arm. Like it was. I didn't like the ending.
It was so dumb. Yeah, I agree. It was dumb. That was a little too long part.
Yeah. They could have just had the match and Jericho beat him and then like feel bad that he, hit his guy who he likes in the head. He didn't have to do the whole apology and why won't you stay down? Like that was dumb.
Yeah.
That's Jericho's way of putting people over. We're like, oh no, I still beat you cleanly, but like I feel bad about it. And you look like you almost didn't lose.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. And then the follow up on Wednesday
was so bad that I started playing Sudoku. So
I don't want to turn this into like a bashing Jericho thing again.
Same here.
I think I nodded off while he was like, I legitimately think I fell asleep for a bit because I don't remember it.
Well, here, like I'll be funny, and here's my exact notes. Oh God, it's Big Bill. Damn it, Bill. This is awful. And then I just quit writing. those are my exact notes.
The only thing I thought is like, this plays into the Ricky Starks' contract is up, but he's going to leave stuff, because why is Big Bill hanging out? Like, he already had a tag team, and he was better off. Like, Big Bill with Ricky Starks was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where AEW does something, and sometimes I don't necessarily like it, which we'll talk about some later stuff.
Okay.
But like, I'll like let it see where it goes, because I'm like, oh, it could be good. Maybe like just wait till like week 2 or 3 and it'll be fun. But like, no, I have no faith in this at all.
Yeah.
It's not going to be something I want to see.
And now you just brought up a good point. The only thing that could save this is if this week Starks is on. It's like, dude, what's the matter with you? Like,
okay, yeah, that would actually be good. And then he was like, oh yeah, dude, I forgot.
Yeah, like that's not going to happen, because I agree with you. I think whenever that contract is up, I'm pretty sure Ricky's going to go elsewhere, unless Tony Khan just dumps a dump truck full of money in front of him.
Right.
But yeah, like, the segment was bad, and I don't care about where it's going. And the exact opposite of the Willow and Mercedes segment, who I'm compelled, I'm all in, excuse the pun, I'm all out on the Jericho.
Yeah, for sure. It's not, I don't even think it's because it's Jericho. I just like, the whole thing doesn't make sense. Like,
agreed. It's just bad,
dumb, and I don't like it.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's dumb, and I don't like it. And it could be anybody. It could be Mox doing it, and if Mox is doing it, I'd be saying the same thing. Like, it makes zero sense.
Yeah.
But again, something else that was good: Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa.
That was a great match.
Great match. My notes from the pay-per-view were, this is match of the night on any other card. And that was before the match that followed it.
Yeah. No, it was a great match. It was a great story. Toni Storm she's learning how to, I think we've talked about this before, how when she first switched to this gimmick, you could tell she found it kind of hard to be a wrestler and also do this gimmick at the same time. Because it's like so cheesy and funny. Like, how can she be a serious wrestler? But she's got it now. And she could have like good matches while still being in character. And yeah, Thunder Rosa was great. It was probably her best match since she's come back.
That's
good stuff.
That's exactly what I had in my notes. This was her best match, and she seems back to form. And okay. Here's a question for you: who beats Timeless Toni Storm?
I don't know, because now it's we talked about this with Jade a long time ago, where like, if someone wins this much, and like Toni Storm's way more over than Jade was, right? So. And she's a better wrestler, and she's a better character, and like, eventually, like, whoever beats her, it's hard, because it's got to be someone good, because otherwise you're wasting it on somebody. But it can't just be like, you don't want it to be to like Mercedes necessarily, because she's already a star. You kind of feel like the person who beats Toni Storm should be elevated by it. I don't know. It's hard. Who do you think? Serena Deeb actually was interesting, and she came out on Wednesday.
Well, that's what I was getting at. The Deeb thing is, I mean, it makes sense. It's awesome. But I don't think she does it. I keep going back to Mariah May.
Mariah May would make sense, and it would be good if that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I want Serena Deeb to win the belt, but I mean, Mariah May beating Toni Storm would just be, it's personal. I mean, she's been with her this whole time.
That makes a lot of sense.
Now, that being said, these promos and this feud leading up are going to be off the hook, because Serena is so down that she's like the Lance Storm.
Yeah.
And then you have like the Mick Foley. And
I can't wait till Serena Deeb is just like, I'm good at wrestling and I will beat you with my wrestling skill. And Toni Storm just like calls her some like 1950s name.
Yes.
And like smears makeup everywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
She's in black and white. Serena Deeb's like, no, listen, I'm a good wrestler. And Toni Storm is just like spinning in a circle. And like
eating a peach. Like,
just... It would be great. It's going to be funny.
The Toni Storm angle is like, it works and it makes me so happy, but it is like, if it was done anywhere else, I would just make fun of it.
It seems so dumb. Like it really does. Like, I love it. I'm not saying it's dumb. I love it. I think it's amazing. but it seems so dumb. And like,
Yes.
I think even if anyone else was doing it, it might not work. Like, she's just really good at it.
True. Oh, it's so fun because it just makes zero sense. She just left the group that she was in, and they were like, "Toni, what's the matter with you?" And she's like, "I don't know."
I'm from the 40s now.
And I just like kind of forgot about that.
It's great.
That would also be interesting too. If, well, I guess Ruby's out
It's not
for a
going to
while.
be Ruby now, yeah.
Yeah, because she's pregnant. But it'd be neat if but now you can't have Saraya in that and the Mercedes thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Still,
Bryan makes the most sense, especially because she's involved in other story. Like,
yeah,
her other storyline now is pretty good too. So I want to see where that goes.
And now, what are your thoughts on Deonna and Rosa's feud?
I'm surprised they're doing a match on Rampage.
See, they've really like been pushing Rampage lately, if you noticed. So, I mean, I'm happy that they are, but I mean, I doubt I'm going to see it tomorrow night.
And I'm surprised they're doing it so soon too. Like, they're doing it like a week and a half after the paper.
Yeah,
like a week after the pay-per-view, actually. Whereas you would think that that's something they could build up for. Maybe they will build it up for. Maybe it's going to like be a double count out or something, and then they'll have to have another one. But I hope they have a good feud, because that would be like not only good wrestling, I like both of them, and then or something going on at once. That's great stuff.
Yeah. Like the women's division is just so hot. Like, I mean, so is
really good.
Yeah, like I mean, the men's division is hot also, but like I don't want to say it's less interesting, because it's not, but I'm more compelled with what's going on in the women's division right now.
I'm more compelled, and there's more like defined characters. Like, you know who they are and what they do and what they like. I was thinking today, like, not a problem, but like, it's not even a problem. It's weird to call it a problem. But there's no like super face. There's no like big face in the men's division, really. There's like Swerve, who's people like, but he's not a good guy, right? Or like even Danielson or Moxley, like they're not typical faces. Like maybe Darby, but he's injured. But like the women's division has like specific characters. Like Willow is good, and Mercedes is kind of smarmy, and Toni Storm is bad, and like they've developed them really well. Like Thunder Rosa is someone you care about and want her to succeed, and then they've developed these characters all really, really well. It's been good.
That's a great point. That is very true.
And you know what they stand for and how they interact. Like, you know how Thunder Rosa is going to handle, like if Thunder Rosa and Mercedes came into play, into contact with one another, like you kind of know how both of them would act in that situation, right? Like, they've done a good job.
They have. That's such a good eye. Like, and it's paying off right now. Like I said, it's the most interesting thing. Oh, it's just so great. Speaking of great, we will segue right into the match of the year, Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. And it was a masterpiece.
I don't know how they like time stuff like that, where they're like both flying at each other and they hit it. Like, I don't get it, like, but they do.
Yeah. Like I've not watched it a second time yet, but just the first watch through, this is in my top 3. It might actually surpass Macho Man versus Steamboat. Sorry, I almost forgot. It might, but I don't know. I have to watch it.
It's fun because the only matches, like recent matches, that I can compare it to are other matches featuring Danielson or Will Ospreay. like there's like Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, or Danielson and MJF, or like Danielson and Okada. Like, but they still involve them, right?
Right,
they're both,
right.
It was good. And now to nitpick, I don't like it. Was outstanding. I don't want to say I didn't like it. It was great, but I didn't love the injury thing at the end. What did you think of that?
Well, I mean, in hindsight, now that I know that it's fake, I'm totally okay with it. I liked the blurring of the lines and the feeling that it made me feel, but knowing that Danielson's passed and knowing that there's 3 months left of full-time wrestling, I was like terrified.
Yeah. I was at first I was upset at like that I thought I was actually hurt, and then
Same,
you're right.
yeah.
I did kind of like the blurring lines. I didn't like that it kind of took away from like Ospreay, right? Like Ospreay won, but then you're kind of like as Ospreay won, I'm like, oh, is Danielson actually hurt?
Right.
And that's what I was thinking about. Not, oh, well, Ospreay just fought this awesome match and beat Bryan. This is like the biggest win he's ever had. I kind of wish they had Ospreay win and not do the injury until after the match. Like have Ospreay win cleanly, celebrate, and everyone's happy, and then oh wait, Danielson's not getting up.
Oh,
and then you could have done
would have been
that.
cool. Okay.
Instead of like he got hurt and then there's still 10 seconds left in the match, and all you're thinking of is, oh, is he actually hurt? Not the match. Right. That's the only thing that like it didn't take away from the match. Was outstanding. I feel like I'm nitpicking. I feel like I'm like looking at the Mona Lisa and going like, there's a brush stroke there that I didn't agree with. Right. But
right.
But yeah, that's my only nitpick on it. But I don't love this angle even where he's like, I'm not going to do that move anymore. And now like that's but the match itself was great.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Like I said, hindsight's 2020, knowing that it was all part of the show and everything. I'm cool with it. I liked the blurring of the lines because, like I said, after it was clarified, and I was like, okay, I like that. I like the way it put me on the edge of my seat. It made me nervous, but
yeah, I like it better now that I know he's not actually hurt.
But that's what I was just gonna say. But because of who it was and the time is so limited, I was like, oh no, that's it. Like it's over.
Yeah.
So
it just felt like it put a damper on the end of the match, being like, oh, what happened? Like,
yeah,
it feels like if you watch like a really good, sports play, like you watch a really good hockey game, and at the end, like your team wins the Stanley Cup, but like, oh, the goalie broke his leg, and then you're like, that's cool that we won, but I feel bad for that guy who broke his leg, right? That like, you'd rather win without the guy breaking his leg, like. I don't know.
Totally.
It put a bit of a damper on it, but like it doesn't make it not a good match. That I feel like if I watched it the second time now, knowing that it's not real, I would like it better. But
and I mean, Ospreay is just getting all the. I mean, he's basically the face of the company right now.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's going to be hard not to just make him like the main guy.
And I was just going to say, like, I know that Swerve is basically the face of the company right now because he's the champion, but I mean, Ospreay is everywhere in the crowd. I mean, as soon as that music hits, it's and he won the Casino Gauntlet match for a shot at the international title. I thought the Gauntlet match was a super cool gimmick. Like, I thought it was fun. And
I like how they acted like it was a surprise to everyone. Like, the announcement, like they didn't even tell you how often people would come in or how many they're going to be. Like, people just showed up kind of whenever, which I thought was cool.
Right. But my favorite response was when I think it was Shivani. He asked, how many people are in this? And Taz's response was, anybody in the locker room. I was like, okay, well, that narrows it down.
It's going to be a 16-hour match. People are just going to keep coming out.
Yeah, it was just like, anybody? Jeez, there's 900 people back there tonight.
No, it's fun.
It was fun, but I'm
surprised they're having Ospreay go for the international title.
Yeah, but that would be there needs to be some new blood in that division. I mean, Orange did everything in his power and wrestled everybody. But now that now that Roddy has the belt, I like that Ospreay's down. I should say down like it's a lesser title. It's not, but I like that he's in that title hunt right now. Just because it takes it's not going to take anything away from Swerve. But I liked what they did in the Casino Gauntlet match. It kind of hinted probably somewhere down the line we're going to get Jay White and Ospreay.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and that whole match, I liked it. We learned that Adam Cole can at least walk because the Undisputed Kingdom came out at the end, and it looks like they have a purpose now.
Right. He can't walk that well though, because I don't know if you noticed. I was watching because he walked at the pay-per-view. He stood up at the pay-per-view. And
I didn't even notice that. Nice.
Yeah, and the pay-per-view he got out of his wheelchair, and then Daly's place has they don't have a ramp; they have steps.
Right.
And I watched him. I don't know if you noticed, but when he walked down the steps, he walked down sideways. Like he can't put all the weight on one foot to walk down the stairs like you would normally walk down the stairs.
Nice.
So he kind of walked like just
okay. I did not notice that. It's a good eye.
The other one with it. So he's still not like he can move around, but he's not. I don't think he's anywhere close to actually wrestling.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But at least he's up and walking around. At least, yeah, they do have something.
Yeah.
Because they were kind of just floating around for a while.
Yeah, and like, I don't want to say that they were waiting on Cole, but I think they were waiting on Cole.
Yeah, like I like Roderick Strong, but he's not like the leader of a faction.
Right. Exactly. I mean, he did a good job though.
Yeah, he was fine, but like Adam Cole's clearly like a better leader for the group.
Yeah. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes here. We had the tag team ladder match for the vacated tag team titles. This match was on par with everything else on Dynasty. It was entertaining, phenomenal. It was brutal. It was just.
I feel like it was especially brutal. Like, well, I know it's a ladder match, and that sounds weird to say, but like, I think I texted you during the show. Like, it seems like the tables are like breaking differently. Like they're harder. Then we're just snapping.
It really does.
They were kind of like crumbling more. Like it was like I don't know. It was especially violent and dangerous for a ladder match.
Yes. Now the big to do was we had a big return during said match, and everybody knew that was kind of coming. But Jack Perry comes in and helps the Bucks. Again, we all kind of knew that was probably going to happen.
That's the only problem I had with it is everybody knew it would have been so much cooler if you had no idea.
Yeah, but then you run the risk. I was thinking of this. Then you run the risk of people going, "Oh man, Jungle Boy."
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like the fact that they let him. He was away first and foremost. Well, I forgot he was suspended, aka on. On New Japan. I couldn't think of the name of the company.
I don't even know if he was actually suspended. Like they never actually said he was suspended. So he might.
No, I just think he went on excursion.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was necessarily planned, but that's what they did.
Yeah.
And I just like that he came back and he's totally different. This is exactly how Munoz Jericho needs a break. Yeah. That's what needs to happen with Jericho. Yeah. Even if he would go to New Japan, however long Jungle Boy's been, I think he said 8 weeks. Like
8 months. Yeah.
8 months, not 8 weeks. Yeah. I'm sorry. Not 8 weeks, 8 months. Yeah. If Jericho was gone for that long and came back like on something like this, that would make me interested again.
Yeah. I was thinking that it's too bad because I would have preferred the surprise, but you're right. They do run the risk of, Jungle Boy.
Right.
Whereas he got a much bigger reaction because we kind of all expected it.
That and the whole controversy of, should the tape being played, quote unquote. Yeah. It was very well done. And everything made sense leading up to it, including, in my opinion, playing the video. Because
I have a thing to say about this, and it's not about the video being played. We've thought that's old news now.
Right.
My issue with it is based on the footage we saw and what we've been told on TV, and basically what we've been told in real life. Like, it's especially because there was no sound on the security video. It's right. It looks like, and it seems like to everyone that Jack Perry was kind of just standing there, and then he just got attacked. Right, like.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Right. So why is he the bad guy? Like, why is he a heel in any of this if he was just like there and got beat up?
I think they used that to make you feel bad, and he just didn't come back as Jack Perry. You know what or as Jungle Boy, excuse me.
I get it that they're using it as a way to like, this is what changed him. Like this is what
right.
Him.
Right.
But like he was already a heel when he left AEW. He's a different kind of heel now, but he was already a heel when he left.
True.
So it just seems weird that it's just like, the guy who got beat up and attacked backstage, and then in storyline, because they didn't say he was suspended. So in storyline and on TV, he left after All In. He was like either upset or whatever. He left. He went to New Japan. He ripped up his contract and he was like, I'm done with AEW. He's kind of right. Like, he should be. Like, if you're just getting beat up backstage by random guys, like,
true,
you should, like, if that happened at your job and you just left, people would be like, yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. Like, it's, I get that they're using it as a way to be like, oh, this changed him as a person. I get it. But it doesn't, like, it's weird that he's like the super heel now when, like, he didn't do anything. He was just there.
True.
Like,
I never looked at it that way. That's I mean, you're absolutely correct. It's weird how people aren't looking at it at all that way.
Yeah. And it's weird that, like, again, we're not going to get into the punk everything stuff.
Right.
If Jungle Boy, if Jack Perry is the heel, then isn't CM Punk the good guy? Like, isn't it good that he beat him up? Right? But, like,
or doesn't that vindicate CM Punk being like, oh yeah, he was right then?
Yeah, and no, it shouldn't. True. Like, no.
Right. Good call.
That's the only thing that I liked his comeback. We'll talk about the angle on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that's the thing that bugged me. Like, he's not supposed to be a heel. He's just standing there and some guy beat him up. Like, he's not a heel.
True. That's so incredible that just never once crossed my mind. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. You're perfectly or 100% correct.
That's the only thing. It's I feel like I'm nitpicking everything today, but that's
you're allowed. That's the whole point of this show.
Yeah.
Okay, so we brought it up. So they did an angle on Dynamite where Jack Perry came out and he attacked Tony Khan. But did you notice the hug?
What about it?
He did the Christian thing.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah. He did. I noticed he looked at the camera, but I didn't compare to Christian. Yeah. You're right.
So, like, I mean, he's even throwing that in there. Like, oh, I learned how to be a scumbag.
Yeah, that was good.
It made me so happy when he did the Christian thing.
I liked this angle. I liked how they did it. I liked how it felt. Like, it was really good. The only thing that bothers me is that, like, no, he shouldn't be a bad guy. That's the only thing.
And that's hilarious now because it's going to bother me eventually. I'm going to hate you. I'm like, damn it. It was so awesome when I fell for it like a normal fan.
I mean, I like that now they're making him a bad guy, right? Like, he's hanging out with the Bucks who were jerks and he beat up Tony. So now, like, now you have a reason to be mad at him, right? Because he did bad stuff. But up until he did this, I was just like, but I'm not supposed to hate him. But now it makes sense. Like, now I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah. What do you think? Where do you think they go with this? Because I think there could be two ways they go with it, and one of them I really like, and one of them I don't really like, and I want to know what you think where it's going to
go. Well, I mean, obviously, like, he's a new member of the Elite, and I don't know, because I think something's going to happen with Kenny next week, and that's
interesting. That Kenny, I know he's probably not cleared to wrestle, but even the fact that he's going to be there is going to be cool.
Yeah, so honestly, I haven't really thought about what they're going to do with it next. So I'll hear what you say, and then I'll think of something while you talk.
What I think they're going to do is, because they both the Bucks and Jack Perry hinted at, like, the change the world thing, which I think was, did they say that at the press conference or Cody said it? One of them said it.
Cody said it. Yeah.
Okay. What I hope they do is they turn it into, like, we started this. This was our idea in our company, and we had the idea of starting AEW. We're the reason it's popular. We sold out the first All In, and we did all this. And you're just the guy with the money. And then everyone starts to think that everyone's saying now, oh, you're the head of AEW. But, like, no, we're the head of AEW. You just funded it. And now you screwed up. Like, you made bad decisions. You, like,
right.
You hurt our original vision, and I hope that's what they do, because that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
What I'm worried about is, because it's the Bucks and because they, like, love to be insider and everything, I'm worried that they're gonna, like, nudge, wink, wink, being like, this is because of the stuff with CM Punk. Don't do that. Like, just make a storyline that's on TV and explain yourself, and don't, like, I don't know, don't make it too insider. Don't make it into, like, this is because, when you brought CM Punk in, he disagreed with our friends, and then Colt Cabot, like, don't do that. Don't bring any of that. into it. I don't care. I don't like explaining the Colt Cabana thing. I saw someone online say explaining this situation with CM Punk involves explaining what happened to CM Punk in WWE and explaining why he left WWE and then had had that podcast with Colt Cabana, and then they got sued over it, and then him and Colt Cabana had a blowout over who paid for the lawsuit, and like you can't explain that on a TV show. That's too much. Right. And those guys don't work there, and there's no need to put that on. So don't make it like a weird internet insider, no kayfabe thing. Just make a real explanation of like, no, we've been here since the beginning, and we started this company, and it's a big deal because of us, and we're sick of you taking credit for it. I hope that's what they do, and I hope they don't get too into like the insider weird stuff, because that's where they lose me.
That's an awesome angle. I hope that's what they do, because that would be sick.
Because they did kind of hint at that. They said they both said the change the world thing. They said, who was it the Bucks a couple weeks ago that said something about how this was our vision and this was our company or whatever. And then I hope that's where they go with it, because that would be really cool. And it would kind of get them some heat for the whole. It's a way of getting some heat for the whole CM Punk, Hangman, Colt Cabana last 2 years of AEW without talking about CM Punk and Colt Cabana and all that, which I don't think they need to do.
I agree. Do you think Hangman and Kenny not team up? Because like honestly, I don't think Kenny's cleared, but do you think they form a new faction, or maybe?
I think Hangman tries to kind of stays out of it because he's got his own like cycle. He's going to come back to Swerve being the world champion, and like that's going to drive him crazy on his own. I kind of hope they don't involve Hangman in it. I kind of hope he goes off on his own and does something with Swerve. Kenny's interesting, and I hope they don't try to involve Kenny with like Jericho or it's in Winnipeg. They're definitely going to involve Kenny with Jericho.
That's going to be terrible.
But I want to know where they go with Kenny, because they fired Kenny, and Okada's like, I don't know their like in character history. I know they had matches against each other that were great, but are they like, they're considered rivals still, right? Like they're enemies on screen.
Yeah, I think so.
So
as far as I know,
that's interesting that they got rid of Kenny Omega and then replaced him with like his biggest rival. Like that's cool, and
that's
Kenny's gonna come back. And another thing I noticed, which was why I thought of there's no like big super faces, is the people who came out to save Tony or check on Tony Khan at the end. I love that his dad was there, by the way. That was cool.
That was great.
The other people who came out to check on him were like mid card and lower card guys. Like I just picture Tony Khan going backstage and be like, Alex Reynolds came out and Danielson, you did nothing.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
So I'm wondering who's going to go against them, because it's not going to be like a stable of mid card guys, right? Who go up against the Young Bucks and Okada and Jack. Like it's going to have to be someone bigger than that. But I don't know who it'll be, because Kenny's probably not cleared, I'm assuming. I think he's just showing up because he's in Winnipeg. I think he's going to come out and talk maybe, and maybe they'll do like a easy attack angle where like they beat him down, but they don't actually show them beat him down or something. So,
like a backstage thing. Yeah, it's. I was going to say something I forgot.
Or something, and But I don't know who it's going to be who goes up against them, because I hope Tony Khan doesn't become like an on-screen guy.
I don't think he will, but
I liked how he handled it. Like he didn't say anything. He just came out and like gave him a hug. I love him wearing the neck brace to the draft. That was hilarious.
Amazing.
I love that Pat McAfee, who I think is super annoying.
Yes.
But he works for WWE, and he sold it as like a kayfabe thing. Like I like that. Like that was fun. But that's the extent of Tony Khan being a character I want to see. I don't want him to come out and be like, I have my own team. Like that's stupid. Don't do that. Like,
well, someone did say maybe there will be a, Team AEW versus Team Elite, like a blood and guts match, but not like what you said, like Tony, not like a company within a company type stupid thing.
I do think it is going to be some guys. I hope if they go with it, where I hope they go with it, where they're like, this is our company, we started it, we should be in charge. I hope there's a bunch of other AEW guys who are just like, no, it's not your company. It's all of our companies. And
that would be sick.
You shouldn't get to make the rules because we've all been here, or something like that. That would be cool. But I don't know who that would be, because it really would be like Dark Order and a bunch of guys, but they're not on the level of, no offense to Dark Order and anyone else, but like, even like when Penta came out, I'm like, Penta's not going to go up against the Elite on his own. Like he could be a part of a group, but he's not like going to be the main guy. So I don't know who it would be.
That's like
the whole time I really want to see where it goes. Like this is interesting to me. I want to see where it goes. I hope they don't screw it up because it could be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I have faith that they're not going to screw it up. But like you said, like they could do things that I wouldn't like.
If they don't get too, and the Bucks have actually redeemed themselves a little bit, because even when they started the feud with Sting, I was like, oh, they're going to be weird insidery with stuff, and they didn't, and that was cool. Like they just they had a kayfabe reason for being mad for wanting to retire Sting because they thought they were better than him. Like that makes sense. The showing the video kind of made me think, oh, they're going to take this to weird insidery stuff. I hope they decided they're not going to do that, and they're just going to have an on-screen reason for this, because that would be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, FTR could go against them. They could be on the other side.
Oh yeah,
that would make sense.
Let's see who could go with them though.
I mean, Adam Copeland makes sense, but if he would make sense, because first I was thinking, he's not like an original AEW guy, but he did give that speech a couple weeks. Oh, that would work really well.
Yes, it would.
Because he gave that speech like the week before they showed the video, being like, we just love wrestling and we want to move on and we want to be positive. And then the Bucks aired the video and he could come out and be like, hey guys, like we were trying to be positive. We were trying to move on and be a good company. And you keep bringing up all this old stuff that happened years ago and we're sick of it. That would be cool.
That would be awesome. Oh, that would be sick.
Like it could be really, really good if they do it properly. I'm just worried that it's going to get too insidery, but I hope it's not.
I agree.
Because it could be really cool. I like the angle. It's intriguing. It's interesting. I want to know where it goes. So good for them.
Yeah. No, I do.
I talked a whole lot here. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I do have a question though. Okay. There's some internet rumblings. People were kind of starting to push for Mercedes joining the Elite. What do you think of that?
I saw that. I would like that.
I would too. that would be really cool. Awesome.
Because she kind of has the same feeling that like the Bucks or Jack Perry have, where like they're kind of just jerks. Like even when they act nice, they seem kind of like jerks, right?
Yeah.
Like, even when she's being nice, you kind of feel like she has a big ego, and like not in a bad way, but like she has a big ego. Like that would be cool. Especially because she calls herself the CEO.
The CEO, right.
I would love if she just started calling herself the CEO of AEW and being like, no, I'm in charge now. We're in charge. That would be cool.
Oh, man. That would be absolutely incredible.
That would be great. I would love that.
Oh, yeah. You'd have EVP, CEOs. Oh.
That would be great. They have to give Okada and Jack Perry some like weird titles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like assistant managers or like something better, director of something, or like
they should,
but like kind of dumb sounding titles that like they sound impressive, but they're not really.
I was just gonna say they should make Jack Perry head of HR. That'd be hilarious.
That would be fun.
That'd be funny.
I would like that actually.
That would.
And I hope like they should give them like really inflated titles, like senior vice director in charge of regional. Like give them like a really long stupid title. Yeah, that would be good.
I want that to happen now. Our world title match and main event of the evening was Swerve versus Joe. Another wonderful AEW main event and another AEW moment that they captured perfectly. Yeah,
the moment was better than the match was good.
Yeah,
the moment
I agree.
Was better than the match, and it was what it should have been. They did it. You're right. They did it perfectly. That's what they should have done.
Yeah, there was like no complaints with the end. Like you said, the match was good.
It was fun. It was good. Like it wasn't a bad match. It was good. It was entertaining.
But that last 2.5 minutes, and then post 5 minutes till they went off the air was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really great.
Shout out Swerve. I mean, congratulations first off. I mean, Joe had a longer run than we expected, and Joe is an awesome world champion.
Yeah, he did a great job.
One hell of a job. congrats to Swerve for being the first African American AEW World Champion, and I believe I called that at the beginning of the year. Just saying. So the first one we got right. And just I can totally see Swerve keeping the belt till at least Wembley. Yeah. I mean, that's the earliest I would take it from him.
Yeah, I agree.
Now going back to Dynamite, speaking of Wembley, Kyle Fletcher is going to be a mega star, and he's already huge in Europe, but wow, that match that he had with Swerve, and like, you can just tell that I don't want to say, when I say this, it's going to sound demeaning because I'm going to be like, they're a bunch of indie guys, but you can tell an indie wrestler as opposed to a WWE wrestler where Tony Khan can literally just put everybody on his roster's name in a hat and pull two out and they can perform.
Yeah.
And the match with Kyle Fletcher like proved that. Like, I highly doubt they've ever wrestled just because Kyle Fletcher's like 25 years old.
And they've been in like different parts of the country. And
yeah. And just to have a match like that, the chemistry was just, it was like they wrestled 900 times. You know what I mean? Like, and we just never saw it before. You know, like, it was unbelievable.
Swerve is like a great presence. He's a great wrestler. He can wrestle anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we don't want to give WWE or NXT credit ever, but when he was in NXT, from what he said, it's not even a rumor, it's him saying it, is kind of the only person who talked to him or gave him any advice was Shawn Michaels. Like, he sat, like, no one else really cared to talk to Swerve, but Shawn Michaels sat down with him and like watched matches, like watched his matches, watched other old matches. I heard Swerve on a podcast. It might've been Renee's, where he said Shawn Michaels just like, oh, pick some matches that you'd like and we'll watch them and we'll talk about what makes them good. And
nice.
So they weren't even just Swerve matches. They were just matches that Swerve like watching.
Right.
And you can tell that he has that kind of experience where he knows how to wrestle everybody. He knows how to wrestle anywhere. Like, you could put him in a death match with a death match wrestler. You could put him in a technical match with a technical wrestler or a high flying match with and he can do it. He can just like fit in and kind of make it work no matter what he's doing. And I feel like that's the experience that, like, Shawn Michaels is the trainer in NXT now, and I feel like he's the right guy to be doing that because he clearly taught Swerve something, or Swerve is a great learner, or both.
Right.
Because he's done an amazing job.
Yeah, and like, just did you watch any of the media scrum?
No, I didn't.
Swerve said something that was very candid and like just brutally honest. I think he said around summer, Tony told him or asked him, he's like, hey, do you want the international title? And he said, no, I have my eyes set on the world title. And he just said it like real nonchalant, like, in a business that is cutthroat and I'll stab you in the back while I'm robbing you type business.
Yeah.
To say no, like, you wouldn't do that anywhere else. Like, Tony Khan respects, like, well, he respects wrestling, but he respects the person and the athlete. Like, no, I set this goal for me, and if I can't have it, it's going to sound selfish. I say, if I can't have it this way, I don't want it.
Yeah,
but
that makes it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it takes a lot of gumption to, in a business like this where people will, sell out their best friend for 5 minutes of TV time.
Right.
So for him to say no to the international title, it's like, it's badass. Like, I mean,
he's a guy who definitely knows what he's capable of, or who knows his own worth, and who knows like what he can do, and won't accept otherwise. Like, he I can be a world champion, and that's what I want to be, and I'm not gonna do anything else because I could be a world champion. Like, you could tell that he has that kind of confidence in himself, and it's really cool.
And the love that he has for the company. Again, I wrote this down twice. In the media scrum, he put over the entire locker room twice by saying, Tony Khan doesn't offer jobs. He offers you an opportunity and you make with it what you're given. And like, that is such a pro sports way to look at things.
Yeah.
And I think, in my opinion, I think that's what differentiates Tony Khan from not just wrestling, but excuse me, but just in general. Like, most people don't see like what a real professional athlete goes through to get to that level.
Right.
And like, I mean, obviously Tony does. I mean, owns a professional football team and soccer team and a wrestling company.
Yeah.
But he would understand, as opposed to having that being held against the person saying no to him. He would understand, like, oh, okay, dude, that's cool. Like, you know, let's go that way then. You know, like,
yeah.
Whereas again, if it was like I don't want it to be just a Vince McMahon thing, but even in like TNA, like if
even
the
in
boss
any other
said,
wrestling company, yeah,
if the boss said anything, you're like,
I mean, even at a regular job, if they're like, oh, we want you to
that's true.
take this role, and you're like, no, I want to be this role instead, they might be like, well, screw you. Who do you think you are? Right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
But Swerve manages, like I said, he knows his worth, he knows what he can do, but he's not like a dick about it, if that makes sense. Like, he's not full of himself.
Totally.
He's not like he understands that, like, oh yeah, I know that I'm good and I know that I can be world champion, but I also know that, like, I need a company that's going to support me. I need a locker room that's going to support me. I need other wrestlers that are going to have good matches with me. Like, it's not just going to be him. Like, he seems to get wrestling in a way that a lot of people don't get wrestling. Like, people get, even the best wrestlers, like someone like Shawn Michaels or someone like CM Punk, like, they're great wrestlers. They're great in the ring. They're great at storylines, but like, they get wrapped up in like the nonsense of wrestling really easily.
Very true.
I feel like he doesn't. I feel like he's just like smart enough to be like, I'm not going to fall into that. I'm not going to get into politics. I'm not going to get into nonsense. I'm going to be myself and do a good job. And I don't know. I don't know where I'm getting that idea from, but it just seems like that about that. That's what he's like.
And well, we've said it on here a million times. And as soon as you were saying that, it made me think of the time they tried to contract tamper him.
Right.
You know, Triple H called him and he hung up the phone and called his lawyer and then told Tony, like, you know,
and a lot of wrestlers would have done that other way. They would have either listened to Triple H or they would have gone back to Tony Khan and held them up for more money or something, right? Like, a lot of wrestlers would have done a lot of things.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah, he did the actual right thing.
I feel like he doesn't fall for all like the dumb wrestling nonsense that like 90% of other wrestlers fall for.
You're right on that. You're 100% right on that. This is just things that run around in my head. Do you think he is gonna like be a champion that's bigger than AEW? Like, do you think he'll be the first one to be like at sporting events and like, because he threw out the first pitch even before he was champion?
I mean, he could be, because like, he's not only like a good looking guy, he's a pretty young guy. I don't know how old he is exactly, but he's a pretty young guy. He's like, he just is cool. Like, we talked about this before, cool. How like he can go anywhere and be like the coolest guy there.
100%.
He can like he can cut promos, but like, he's not like MJF can cut promos, but his character makes him seem kind of like a jerk, right? Whereas Swerve's character, like, his character allows him to just be normal. Like, he can just go and just talk. So yeah, maybe, because he's got kind of everything. And
he has his hand in everything too. Yeah. You know, like, if he makes music, he does podcasts, he I believe he has a clothing line. I could be wrong on that, but like, I mean, he's a true businessman.
Yeah. That brings me to my nitpick, and I want to see what you think about this.
Yeah.
My nitpick for Dynamite was everybody who won recently got a thing. Like, Jericho got his promo to talk about him being champion, and Willow got her promo to talk about being. Moxley got his promo, and Moxley got the main event, even though he won a New Japan title like a couple weeks ago, not even at Dynasty. True. The Bucks got a whole angle because they won the tag title. They got, like, Swerve didn't really get much. He got a match, but he didn't get more than that. And I was hoping for like a big promo or a big segment or a big celebration. And I know that they said they're going to do something on Collision, but I was a little surprised that like he seemed kind of like an afterthought on that show.
Well, that bled in from the media scrum. He told, like, and again, it was probably obviously planned. He said, "Tony, I don't care. Put me on. I'll take anybody." That's like the first thing he said when he sat down. And he said, okay,
like,
well,
even after the match, cut a promo, right? Like on how he's
the
new champion or whatever, right? Like it's weird to have a new, not only a new champion, but a new like defining champion. Like when there's champions that like people win the belt sometimes and they're not like defining an era, but this kind of seems like it's like a different era for AEW with him as champion. Like when in WWE when like Cody just won, or when Danielson, Daniel Bryan at the time won the title.
Yes.
Like that was a new moment for them, right? Like a new champion who's never been champion before. That was a whole new thing. And they all got time to come out and talk. And like Punk, when he won his title, he got time to come out and talk. Or MJF, when he won his title, he got to come out. Like it's weird that he didn't get anything. I felt like he was kind of like an afterthought. Like the show closed. The last match was like, and I understand why. It's New Japan. It's their partner. It's like Daly's place where Mox had his whole run as champion. Right. Like I get why they had Mox close the show as not close the show, but be the last match. But it was weird. He was standing at the end of the match holding a title up. And if you had never seen AEW before, you'd be like, that guy's their world champion.
Right. Yeah.
Like, but it seemed weird that like that should have been Swerve. Like it should have been his moment to me in my eye. Like I'm not saying it's wrecking his title reign or he's buried or like I just feel like he could have got a bigger moment on the show because he kind of I felt like everyone else got something and he didn't get anything.
I can't argue with that. That's a good point. I'm just going to agree with you because that's a great point.
Couldn't you give Jericho like a couple minutes less and give that to Swerve? Like,
oh, Jesus Christ. Yes. Yes.
I don't know. That's the only thing. I read it online and people were saying that same thing the day after the show, but like I didn't even read it online first as I was watching the show. I thought like, Mox is like, even in my eyes, in my head, I thought like, there goes Mox closing another show as champion. And then like, I had to be like, but he's not champion. He is champion, but he's not, right? He's like, he's New Japan champion. He's not, I don't know. It was a little weird.
I like I said, I'm just going to agree with you.
And I feel like these are all just like me being like, but like,
but we're allowed, man. Like when a show is that good and you're finding these minuscule things wrong with it, that means that the show is that freaking good.
Yeah. And I think like I said before, like I've been a little out of AEW for a little while. I just like not that interested. Mm-hmm. Not AEW's fault. I just wasn't in. But yeah, it was really good. The last couple of Dynamites have all been really good. And the fact that I care about these things makes me feel like, oh, I care about the show. Like if I didn't care about the show, I wouldn't care about the stuff. Right.
Right. So. Right. Yeah. Everything. I have no complaints. Before we finish up here, how would you rate Dynasty?
It's hard because it was really good, but they're all really good. Like every AEW, like I can't think of an AEW pay-per-view that I didn't enjoy. Like even when people were upset with like what was the one, an MJF faced Jay White? Was that Full Gear or was that World's End?
World's End.
No, that was Full Gear. World's End was when he lost.
Oh yeah. Okay.
People were upset with both those pay-per-views actually, World's End and Full Gear. But like I enjoyed them. I thought they were good.
Same here.
It's hard for me to rank it because like it's really good. It's really good. Like I loved it. But like I could name 10 other pay-per-views that I also loved. So I don't know. Where would you put it?
I think it was the best one they ever did. It was, I mean, even the pre-show is freaking good. Like it was nonstop and there was no, there was just no downtime. It was just boom, 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 boom. And
there were no matches that I didn't care for. They were like, there's always on every pay-per-view, there's one match where it's fine, but I don't care. Even the Hook Jericho match really I cared for the least. Like it was pretty good. Like it was good. Yeah, I mean, they just had Revolution 2, which is one of my favorite pay-per-views they've ever had, so it makes it hard for me to rank it. But like, it was great. Like I loved it.
It's what a great problem to have that every pay-per-view is great.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any final thoughts this week, sir?
No, I like where they're going. I mean, it could always fail. Like they could always drop
100%
every ball, right?
100%.
I want to see what they do with Swerve because they've been hinting that they're going to tell you who he's facing in Double or Nothing, and I wonder who that's going to be because
true.
I can't think of who it would be.
Yeah.
Like it's not Danielson. It's not Mox because he's the New Japan champion.
Do you go right to Hangman?
Go back to Hangman. Maybe that would be fun. Like Hangman returns and he's just like incensed that Swerve is champion. That would be cool.
Or is there a Keith Lee return?
Yeah.
I mean, I know he just had some, like, I don't know, was it surgeries or was it just rehabs?
I think it was just rehab. I don't think he had surgery, but I don't remember for sure.
But
like, I mean, there's a lot of places you could go, but like,
absolutely.
I don't know where they're necessarily going to go. I want to know, like, I want to see where they go. I want to see where they go with Toni Storm and Serena Deeb. I want to see where they go with Mercedes and Willow. I want to see where the stuff with the Elite and Jack Perry goes. Like the stuff with the Don Cal, like when the Don Callis family started, I remember us both being like, I don't care about this. This is dumb.
Yeah.
But like, I want to see where that goes. Like eventually Ospreay's they're hinting he's going to leave them. I want to see where that goes. Takeshita showed up at the end and seemed to challenge Mox. Like that's going to be cool. Like
I just need that match.
Like there could be like what's the next one? Double or Nothing, right? That could be an all-timer. Like that could if you consider Dynasty your favorite pay-per-view, like that could beat it next month.
Wow. That's absurd. Wow. Oh, what a time.
And if it doesn't, then there's All Out and All In and everything else.
And Forbidden Door. Yeah, I mean, it's just what a time.
It's a good time.
Great time. Well, everybody, thank you as always. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. We are at Elite City Pod pretty much everywhere. Everything's been awesome. We've been getting subscribers pretty much weekly. So keep that up and, pass it along.
We'll have some of our fellow friends back soon.
Yes.
Biddy and Gina and Jay and they'll be showing up again. They haven't abandoned us. Don't worry.
Yes.
Or maybe they have and they're just pretending like they haven't.
Sure.
Sometimes next week they're going to start their own podcast and be like, it's better. And you'll be like, it is better. You're right. We'll see.
Yeah. And then sometimes life just throws you curveballs.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I hope everyone's doing well and everything. So we're just going to end it here. And until next week, later.